Sorry. Because generally Balram Shakti Pro does the recording. So I, I forgot only. So okay, we'll just revise this one point. So here we are discussing this one thing, that it is the not a question of plunderers in terms of people. It's a consciousness. Like there are good people, bad people. Both are absorbing good and bad. So wife, children, and husband and friends, they're all good people. They also plunder our consciousness because we get absorbed in them. And same thing with the enemies, envious people. They also are taking our consciousness. So in both cases, we are robbed of our consciousness, which we are supposed to put on Krishna. And success, what we have discussed, is purification of consciousness. At the end of the day, if you are able to focus on holy name, then we are the most successful person. If you are not able to chant properly, no matter how much you have done, then it is not worth doing it. If you are hearing negative about others, if you are trying to see what is their mistakes and shortcomings, where is the question of concentrating on holy name? It will not happen only because your absorption is something else. Whole day we have absorbed in Krishna's service and hearing chanting. Then only when we sit for chanting, we can hear the holy name. So this chapter, when it is told it is plunderers and all, it is not about them. It is about how I am getting absorbed in those things. That's why they are plunderers. So they are not coming and robbing. We are only going and giving. Like now, example, like a child is born in the house. And no, everybody is so much absorbed in that child. No, they are cuddling the child, and no, their grandmother is talking, grandfather is talking the child. And no, I have seen the families. No, in the train also, the child is there, and everybody, the grandmother, grandfather, uncle, aunt, mother, father, and brother, sister, everybody is talking about the child only. Oh, he did like this, he did like this. And now he'll speak some words, and people are selling he spoke such words. I'm thinking, Arre, whole day they are discussing about that child and his activities only. What an absorption. So now that poor fellow is born, he is plundering all of their consciousness. And everybody is absorbed in. Instead of absorbing in Krishna, they are absorbed in that small child. That's all. So now, did he plunder? Yes, he plundered. He plundered all their consciousness. Was it his mistake? No, it was not his mistake. He just came. He entered into this body and he came to their house. So this is actually what is addressed here. So it's not now you start hating them and all. It's not hating. Just have to change your absorption. And then we discuss this also. Enthusiasm is not advancement, it's a material quality. But faith gives enthusiasm. When it works is when we are in trouble, and when we go for when we go through some difficulties, and when we are in trouble, that time we continue to be enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness. That depends on faith. So people may be enthusiastic, but when troubles and difficulties come, their enthusiasm will go down if they don't have faith. So that is very important. So enthusiasm, because of enthusiasm, people may be materially, even spiritually also, they may be achieving some things like good name and fame and popularity and other things because they are enthusiastic. But that is not fair. We have to look people with this type of association. That is the point. So, wanting in the forest of material world, the conditioned soul sometimes hears an invisible cricket making harsh sounds, and his ears become very much aggrieved. Sometimes his heart is pained by the sounds of owls, which are just like harsh words of his enemies. Sometimes he takes shelter of a tree that has no fruits or flowers. He approaches such a tree due to his strong appetite, and thus he suffers. He would like to acquire water, but he's simply illusioned by mirage and he runs after it. So this is all very next chapter elaborates more. Prabhupada writes also nice purport. He says that Bhagavatam, it is said that Bhagavat philosophy is meant for people who are completely free from envy. Paramo nirmatsarana. The material world is full of envious people. Even within one's inner circle, there is much backbiting, and this is compared to the sound of vibration of a cricket in the forest. Prabhupada had a very great experience, even in the Gaudiya Math, in the spiritual circles. One cannot see a cricket, but his heart is, but one hears its sounds and this becomes aggrieved. When one takes to Krishna consciousness, one always hears unpalatable words from relatives. This is the nature of this world. Sometimes in rainy season, where we used to stay, it was full of some fields and some forest and houses and all. So these crickets used to come into the house. And suddenly in the middle of the night they make so much sound and you have to switch on the light and search where this fellow is. And now you have to find it, take it out and throw it out of the house. Suddenly in the middle of the night it is making a sound. So it really harsh sounds it makes. One cannot see, but one hears its sounds and becomes aggrieved. When one takes to Krishna consciousness, one always hears unpalatable words from relatives. This is the nature of the world. One cannot avoid mental distress due to backbiting or envious people. Here in Vrindavan, I was by the path. While going to temple, there is a person who stitches clothes and all. He's just on the road only. He don't have any shop. He's just on the roadside. He just kept his machine and he stitches. And he has a small daughter and other small shops. They're also like there's not shops like you say this kanti mala, this mala, that mala. They sell. So anybody comes and I see because he's stitching for devotees. Everybody come and says, "Why your girl is not studying? Why she's not going to school?" Actually, the school fees is very high. It's very expensive. So for him, he's not able to afford. But everybody comes and asks why she's not going to school. So the girls just stays. Mother and father are there only, and she's also sitting there and playing here and there something. And other devotees come because I went 2 3 times for something. And everybody is asking. Now for him, now it is uh, very difficult because he cannot tell that I don't have money. And uh, how many times people are yesterday also I was thinking he's every time telling, yeah, I am going and seeing 2 3 schools, I am going and seeing 2 3 schools. He's telling the same reason. And even I also got means tempted in the sense while I was going and that girl was playing. I said, come, I'll take you to the school. I also did the same. But of course, uh, then it is so difficult for people to survive, the fees and all, it's so expensive and but what can be done anyway. So this is how uh, this is the nature of this world. One cannot avoid mental distress due to backbiting of envious people. This everybody has experience. No need of giving any example for this. Being very much aggrieved. Sometimes one goes to sinful person for help, but he has no means to help because he has no intelligence. Thus, the living entity is disappointed. This is like running after a mirage in the desert in an effort to find water. Such activities do not produce any tangible results due to being directed by illusory energy. A conditioned soul suffers in so many ways. And thing is that people they give pain to each other. Very nicely they give without any reason. Sometimes the conditions of jumps into shallow waters are being short of food grains. He goes to beg food from people who are not at all charitable. Sometimes he suffers for burning heat of household life, which is like a forest fire, and sometimes he becomes sad to have his wealth, which is as dear as life, plundered by kings in the name of heavy income taxes. And uh, because we can observe this very easily around. how much people are suffering and going through pain. We have to actually observe this to make us take spirituality seriously. And I have seen fathers who are getting their daughters married. It's actually very tough. Whole life they have worked and earned money, and then they saved it only for what? To get their daughter married. Even my father also. Once the daughter is married and the father goes into debts, not just savings are gone, he will go into debt also. Many of the situations, and then it will take 2 3 years for him to settle that, and after that the second daughter is ready for marriage and then again that, and by the time uh, his age is already getting over, what he will enjoy, there is no enjoyment. He just have to settle the children, that is the only thing. And then by the time they settle, then this person is old, and then he has to some more settlement with the grandchildren also, and then the life is over. And that's how. Uh, so when my father got retired, I said, "Okay, you stay at the temple." He said, "No, no, no. I want to train my grandson." I said, "Arre, that is not your job. It is the job of your son to train his son, not grandfather's job." And he said, "No, I want to make him Krishna conscious." I said, "You can never make your grandson Krishna conscious. He will do whatever he wants." And he could not do only. It was not, he was not successful. The grandson is doing whatever he wants. Anyway, so the point is, people are in great illusion. They are having hope. Something good will happen in life. And they always are very optimistic. But reality is the otherwise. When one is hot due to scorching sun, one sometimes jumps into a river of to gain relief. However, if the river is almost dried up, the water is shallow, and one may break his bones by jumping in. The conditioned soul is always experiencing miserable conditions. Sometimes his efforts to get help from friends are exactly like jumping into a dry river. By such actions, one does not derive any benefit. He only breaks his bones. Sometimes, suffering from the shortage of food, one may go to persons who is neither able to give charity nor willing to do so. It is actually very embarrassing situation sometimes. I saw people, they are going and asking money from others because they don't have, and they don't pay in time, and the other person he will come and humiliate. So this is a very that's a Chanik Pandit says, who is the happy person who does not have loan and who need not go out for work. So he is the most happy. Otherwise, na, and this is everybody has loans now. Everybody has EMI. And all these the bank people, na, they call for credit card, sir, credit card loan, loan. Uh, for me, I get so many times calls, sir, you are eligible for the free lifetime credit cards. I said, I tell them, Arey, why should I take credit card? I didn't earn only. Why should I spend that money? I need to have debit card. Whatever you have in the account, that much only you spend. No, no, sir. In emergency, it will be helpful. I said, when emergency is there, that time we'll see. So this is how they allure. And once you take the loan, and then the burden will be too heavy to pay it. And I have seen somebody who lost their jobs, and when the EMI, the people are calling, bank people are coming home. It's so humiliating. And uh, so everybody has loans now. Big rich people also, they take loan and want to do something. And loan is common and going out is common. That's why nobody is happy here. When man is heavily taxed by government, he becomes very sad. And nowadays, this is too heavy taxes. Heavy taxation obliges one to hide his income. But despite this endeavor, the government agents are often very vigilant and strong that take all the money anyway, and the conditions becomes very aggrieved. Thus people are trying to become happy in the material world, but this is like trying to be happy in a forest fire. No one need to go to forest to set it blaze. Fire takes place automatically. Similarly, no one wants to be unhappy in family life or worldly life, but the laws of nature, unhappiness and distress are forced upon everyone. To become dependent on another for one's maintenance is also degrading. Therefore, according to Vedic system, everyone should live independently. Only the Sudras are unable to live independently. They are obliged to serve someone for maintenance. Now, everybody Kalo Sudra Samra. Everybody is working under somebody in Kali Yuga. That is the point. And what happens is the boss will definitely give some humiliation will be there from the superiors. They'll say you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and very unfortunate na? At the age of 50, 60, after 50 when they're like their grandfather, they're still working and the boss is humiliating them. Are at that age, why you have to hear such a humiliation from the person? Why we should get humiliated? So that is the point. That's why the Kali Yuga. That is the problem. If you are people cannot live independently. That is not possible. Also, previously Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas they are not working under anyone. They are just independently doing, and they need not hear from anyone. No obligation that I but now there will be so in Kali everyone is dependent on another's mercy for maintenance of the body. Therefore, everyone is classified as Shudra. 12th Canto Bhagavad it is said, the Kali Yuga, the government will lay taxes without reciprocally benefiting the citizens. Anavishitya vikshanyanti durbhikshakara piditaha. In this age, there will also be shortage of rain. Therefore, a scarcity of food will arise and the citizens will be very much harassed by government taxation. In this way, the citizen will abandon their attempts to lead a peaceful life and will leave their homes and huts and go to the forest in sheer disappointment. So this is I don't know when it's going to happen, but not a good situation. Sometimes being defeated I'm sorry. So the fighting goes only, and the fighting they are just goes for hours and hours, days and days for small things. And I try to tell her, hey, you have everything. Why are you fighting? You can be peaceful, but no way. So this is the very unfortunate situation of this word. The word Gandharva Pura is significant itself. Sometimes in the forest, a big castle appears, and thus it is called a castle in the air. Actually, this castle does not exist anywhere but in one's imagination. This is called Gandharvapura. In the metal forest, the conditioned soul sometimes contemplates great castles and skyscrapers and he wastes his energy for such things, hoping to live in them very peacefully with his family forever. You see, this I don't want to tell the latest things, but somehow it is connected. So please forgive. In Dubai, na, they are putting why what happened is we were planning to take some place in Vrindavan. We wanted to take on rent to construct a recording studio for our ISKCON Secunderabad temple. So I was searching some places. So one place was there, and we were getting it, and there is an old person who's ready to give his house, give his place. It is a big place, and his sons are staying in Dubai. So we thought it's a nice deal. We are having him here, and we can nicely take this place. So what happened just a few days back, and suddenly the son came back from Dubai. He said, "So many bombs are falling on Dubai. There is no guarantee." So then we thought the sons will never come back to India. Once you settle in Dubai, you never want to come to India. So that is the notion till now. If you are in Dubai means nobody want to come back to any other place. It is considered like heaven only. But what happened to the heaven is there are so many bombs are falling and people are running here there. So this is actually the reality of this world. This is called Gandharvapura. In the material forest, the conditions of, and then we are now concerned that whether we should take this house or not, because that fellow will come back means again we'll have some other things anyway. So the point is the conditions sometimes contemplates great castles and skyscrapers and he wastes his energy for such things, hoping to live in them very peacefully with this family forever. You see, people went to Dubai to live peacefully forever. However, the law of nature do not allow this. When he enters such castle, he temporarily thinks that he is very happy. Even though his happiness is impermanent, his happiness may last for a few years. But because the owner of the castle has to leave the castle at the time of death, everything is eventually lost. This is the way of worldly transaction. Such happiness is described by Vidyapati as a happiness one derives upon seeing a drop of water in the desert. The desert is heated by scorching sunshine, and if we want to reduce the desert temperature, we need huge amount of water, millions and millions of gallons. What effect will one drop have? The water certainly has value, but one drop of water cannot reduce the heat of the desert. In this metal world, everyone is ambitious, but the heat is very scorching. What will an imaginary castle in the air do to help? Vidyapati has therefore sung Tatala Sinkhe Vari Bindu Sama Sutamitta Ramani Samaje. The happiness of family life, friend, and society is compared to a drop of water in the scorching desert. Then, actually, if you observe, na, then it is easy to understand. If you are, as a neutral observer, if you see what is happening around, you can see this reality. The entire material world is busy trying to attain happiness because happiness is the prerogative of the living entity. Unfortunately, due to failing in contact with material world, falling in contact with the living entity simply struggles for existence. Even when one becomes happy for a while, a very powerful enemy may plunder everything. There are many instances in which big businessmen suddenly became paupers in the street. At the metal nature, uh, so in Rajasthan, there is Makhana, the marbles and granites, they are nicely available there. So one person was very filthy rich, and what happened? He then they said there is you get marble in different places there. So he heard that in this big hill there is so much marble, and he purchased it. Now to work on it, he has to spend so much money to break it, and more he's breaking the hill. He was not getting any stone only, and there is no option. He has purchased it, and all the riches which he has earned for and his parents and grandparents, everything is lost. and what remained is only the house which he has constructed. And now what he does, he uses this house as a paying guest, and whatever paying guest people give, that's how he's surviving. And one another person is very very filthy rich, same place, and then he also lost like that. And his wife now works in different houses to maintain the house. I mean, she works like a maid servant. So this is how much harsh this metal world is. And see, somebody is working as a maid. No, from beginning there is no problem. You lived a very luxurious life and then you become a maid. It is such a painful thing. The normal maid will not suffer. She's born only like that. She's okay, I have to live like this. But both are living the same life, but one is very miserable because they experience something high. So this world is like that. So, and unfortunately, people don't see this reality. They think it will not happen to me. And in old age, nobody takes care. People are so much humiliated in old age because we don't know what type of disease will come and how much humiliating disease it will be. So even if we have money also, nobody cares. They are praying when this old fellow will die, when this old fellow will die. And he also knows, that old fellow, that people don't want me, but he don't want to die also. And sometimes he's waiting for death to come. And this is how I don't want to spoil your mood in early morning by all these realities. But this is what Bhagavatam is telling. There are many instances in which big businessmen suddenly become paupers. Yet the nature of material existence such that the foolish people are attracted to this transaction, they forget the real business of self-realization. So this is how it is. Sometimes the merchant in the forest want to climb the hills. So sometimes in yeah, sometimes the merchant in the forest want to climb the hills and mountains. But due to insufficient footwear, his feet are pricked by small stone fragment and by thorns on the mountain. Being pricked by them, he becomes very aggrieved. Sometimes a person who is very attached to his family becomes overwhelmed with hunger, and due to his miserable conditions, he becomes furious with his family members. See, Bhagavatam is telling everything, and we can see all the scenarios what Bhagavatam is explaining. Basically, it is telling Parabhavastava Dabodhajate Yavanna Jignasa Atma Tattva. If we are not going for self realization, we will be humiliated like this. There is no doubt. See, at the end of life, even if we are going with diseases and suffering, but if we have spent our life in self realization, please hear, this is very nice, very important point. If we have spent our time for self realization, even things become very miserable, will not have much problem because the bodily conception is reduced for us. So the pain automatically reduces. That is the advantage. So, like some people, they go into coma here, there, so many other types of problems are there. So the pain more is more we are in the bodily conception of life. When you practice spirituality, the conception reduced. So that means the pain also reduced, right? Like say, now I am attached to my car. So the more problems the car faces, more I suffer. But if I am not attached, then no problem. Same thing. So more we are attached, more we are bodily conception, more in the bodily conception of life, more we suffer. But if we are practicing spirituality, then automatically this problem reduces because our conception reduces. Yeah, it's illusory. What can be done? No problem. If somebody insults us also, what we'll think? Yeah, Krishna want me to learn something. Let me learn something from this. Finish. The story is over. You are very peaceful. Uh, Otherwise, what happens? We continue to be very miserable. Oh, this fellow said this fellow said this. So, probably the ambitious conditions will want to be very happy in the material world with his family, but he's compared to a travel in the forest who desires to climb a hill full of thorns and small stones. As stated in the previous verse, the happiness derived from society, friendship, and love is like a drop of water in the scorching heat of deserts. One may want to become very great and powerful in society, but this is like attempting to climb a hill full of thorns. And this is this is the reality. We want to be success, success, success. We are climbing, but it is still Vishwanath Chakravarti compares one's family to high mountains. Becoming happy in their association is like a hungry man's endeavor to climb mountains full of thorns. Almost 99.9% of the population is unhappy in family life, despite all the attempts being made to satisfy a family member. In Western countries, due to the dissatisfaction of family members, there are actually no family life. There are many cases of divorce, and out of dissatisfaction, the children leave the protection of their parents. Especially in this age of Kali, family life is being reduced. Everyone is becoming self centered because everyone is because this is that is the law of nature. Everyone has sufficient money to maintain a family. Even if one has sufficient money to maintain his family, the situation is such that no one is happy in the family. Consequently, according to the Varnashram Institute, one has to retire from family life in middle age. Panchasho Varsha Vanam Brajet. One should voluntarily retire from family life at the age of 50 and go to Vrindavan or forest. This is recommended by Srila Prahlad Maharaj. Tatsadu manye suravarcha dehina sada samudvigna diyam asatgrahat. Hitvatma pakam grahamanda kupam vanam gatoya dedhi harimashriyut. There is no benefit in the transfer from one forest to another. One must go to Vrindavan. See here, one important point, na, that uh, one has to voluntarily give up. So, and there is 99.9% of the people are unhappy in family life. So, this is the truth. Prabhupada is not pessimistic, he is telling realistic. And people cannot know that they are unhappy also. That's how they are unhappy. Like if you take a hog, na, it feels very happy eating stool and staying in gutter. But a person outside feels, what is this miserable life? But a hog does not feel it. So similarly, a person in family life, he may feel, oh, everything is fine only. But saintly people, they understand, Are he is suffering in a, no, this filthy place, he is stuck. So here Prahlad is saying that. Hitvatma pakam grha andakupam. This is a filthy place you are staying. Come out of it. Kutumba Kutumbaka Kriyarthi Va Jnanaya. When one mind is disturbed in so many ways, he satisfies himself by becoming angry with his poor wife. The wife and children are distressed and therefore chastise the family members unnecessarily. So, this is the point. And being disgusted with family, one separates from family by divorce or some other means. One has to separate. Why not separate willingly? Systematic separation is better than forced separation. This is one of the famous purports of Prabhupada. Forced separation cannot make anyone happy. But by mutual consent or by the Vedic arrangement, one must separate from his family affairs at certain age and fully depend on Krishna This makes life successful. That means he's coming out of this Dehatma Buddhi. That is why he's successful. So success is not living home, success is in getting out of. Now we may say, oh Prabhuji, in the West they are not even marrying. That means are they detached? It is not like that. That is also should be understood. The detachment here you see why it is said forced separation and systematic separation. So systematic separation is better than forced separation. You are seeing the difference. So there is systematic and forced. In the West now this is Western countries. This is how it is. It's a forced separation. In Varnashrama, this is systematic separation. We have to know the difference clearly. See, when Prabhupada went and he preached in US, in the West, they were all hippies. So they are already detached. Now when Prabhupada preached, they became devotees also. Right? Now, but what was the problem is, they are detached, they could take up Krishna consciousness, but problem is, they could not maintain it. They could not maintain. But in India, when Prabhupada preached, he preached in India. They were attached and slowly they became detached. And they became devotees, but they maintained, could not maintain. So now if you go in the West, there are so many temples which Prabhupada made. And if you see, most of the congregation there are Indians only. And maximum practice, whoever is practicing Krishna consciousness, maximum number is in India only. Why in India? Even though West, there are people are detached there, they don't have family, they don't have children, wife also, sometimes, many times, and they are not attached to wife even if she is there because she is second or third or fourth marriage, so they are not much attached. So it looks like they are detached. But that is not proper detachment. It is not going to work like that. Systematically, it should be done. Systematically means he has to go through family life, get married, live properly, then get detached. So this will help a person's mind is pure. So the mind gets purified. The mind gets purified if you go like this. So in Western countries, they are directly doing it without any uh, proper procedure. They directly see their detachment is irresponsibility. Detachment due to irresponsibility. So here it is responsible, take responsibility and detachment. Detachment after responsibility. So this type will help purify mind. Mind remains impure. So even though they took up Krishna consciousness, they could not maintain because mind is very disturbed. It is not purified. Here it is purified. That's why we see in India old people now also many of them they can sit and hold a chant. Some old women will see the whole day they are sitting and chanting and reading Ramayana, reading Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, this stotra, that stotra. We have many such groups, spiritual, whatever religious groups, WhatsApp groups. They will be reciting this shlokas, that shlokas, all the Matajis in the coming who are not into kitty parties. They even in kitty parties also some of them they are still having this puja, that puja. They are able to concentrate because they have lived some responsible life. They have taken responsibility. So this is why here Prabhupada is telling you should do it in a systematic way. It is not just detachment. It should be done in a systematic way. So that is the main difference. We should not get confused. Like that's what I we can tell. Like say brahmacharis, brahmacharis who are joining ashram, there are two categories. One want to escape suffering. One want to take responsibility to serve Guru. So there are two categories who join ashram. Who want to escape suffering, they will eventually get married or they will be miserable in the ashram. So this is actually what happens to who are joined. So when people are preached, they these are the classes that are given. These two chapters are the most favorite chapters. If you want to make anybody brahmachari, you go to catch some college students and no preach them, and then you give these classes. Then they'll think, my God, this material world is such a great suffering. Let me escape. So if they come with that mood, then eventually this is going to happen. They will remain miserable in the ashram or they will because their detachment came not out of they didn't want to take responsibility and serve Guru. Then naturally detachment comes. No need of separately anything. He said, I want to just dedicate my life to Guru's service. So this will help them purify. So that means they are responsible. Your understanding? It is responsibility. It is not irresponsibility and no, it will not work like that. So hard work is there, but it should be done in a responsible way. Hope you are understanding this point. Pachinnigrino jagarani jano nivritna vitti kinchit vipine pavidha दष्टस्मसेते क्वच च धन सूकरै अंधो अंधः कूपपतस्तमयेर्षिर्. The conditioned soul in the metal forest is sometimes swallowed by a python or crushed. At such a time, he is left lying in the forest like a dead person, devoid of consciousness and knowledge. Sometimes other poisonous snakes bite him. Being blinded by his consciousness, he falls down into a dark well of hellish life with no hope of being rescued. So Prabhupada writes, when one becomes unconscious due to being bitten by a snake, one cannot understand what is taking place outside the body. This unconscious condition is the condition of deep sleep. Similarly, the conditioned soul is actually sleeping on the lap of illusory energy. Bhakti Vinod Thakur sung, Kota Nidra Javo Maya Pishachi Rakole. O living entity, how long will you sleep in this condition on the lap of illusory energy? People do not understand that they are actually sleeping in the material world, being devoid of knowledge of spiritual life. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore sang, Eche avas, Eche aushadi maya nashibara lage harinama mahamantra lao tumi mage. So, I have brought medicine to awaken every living being from perpetual sleep. Please receive the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and awaken. Kathopanishad also says, Uttishta Jagrata Prapya Varan Nibhodata. Oh, living entity, you are sleeping in the metal world. Please get up and take advantage of your human form of life. The sleeping condition means loss of all knowledge. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagrit sanyame. So, no one is really interested in real values of life. The sleeping condition called kala sarpa keeps the conditioned soul in a state of ignorance and therefore pure consciousness is lost. You see, this is what we are discussing all the time. What is lost? Consciousness is lost. In the forest, there are many blind wells. If one falls down in this, no chance of being rescued. In such a deep state of sleep, one remains perpetually bitten by some animals, especially snakes. Okay, we'll take some questions. Yes, Deepa Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Uh, Prabhuji, you mentioned about detachment from a brahmachari's perspective. A little bit in between, I think I missed. But what I want to understand is recently I was asked a question by Grihastha only, and that person is an entrepreneur and runs a company. There are about 40 families which are dependent on him. So he was saying that until I came to Krishna consciousness, uh, I knew that this is my goal. I have a goal of making my company into a 100 crore company or something like that. But after coming here, after continuously hearing that okay, you should not have any material desire, you should not have any material desire, I am now torn. I don't understand whether we are supposed to have goals, whether we are supposed to have desires, uh, and how exactly do I balance this? How I still do the best at my work and continue to be detached? So I am very, very confused. So, though I told him that it is not about the detachment with goals, it's actually detachment with the result. Matlab, you do your best, but at the same time, if something doesn't work out, it should not affect much. But in practical scenario, Prabhuji, how would you answer this question? Can you like kind of write and show it to me so I can actually share the same knowledge?
Yeah, actually, we all are given certain abilities and talents, and we have to utilize it properly in Krishna's service. So now he has this ability to have a big company and he is an entrepreneur and he's able to support so many families and he want to grow also. That is not wrong. Only thing is what you said is right. You should not be attached to the result. That is one level of practice which should be done. That is karma yoga. At least you are not attached to result. And another thing is he should also know that he can the psychophysical nature which he has will force him to do some things like this. So maybe if he has the talent, he should not stop it. What happens is if you don't do, then you will remain unhappy. If he does not engage in such big activity because he's ambitious. So you tell him, okay, now you anyway have a big thing. So why don't you do something big for Krishna? Maybe you can plan to construct a big temple of Krishna in the future. So you earn money to make a temple for Krishna. So let your company be a 100 crore company, not a problem. And with that, all the profit of that 100 crore company, you can make a temple. So that should be the motivation. Or while you are doing these things, you keep a target that every year I will donate this much money to Mayapur temple or Vrindavan temple or some project of Prabhupada or Krishna service, something. So he
Mm,
should not reduce the ambitions. He should change the motivation of his ambitions. He should keep it spiritual by bringing Krishna there. So that will help him to get free from that. So, and even if does not work also, you should know that Krishna didn't want the money which you are giving in this way. Maybe he wanted something else. So
mm,
what happens now? Slowly, because he's spiritualizing his ambitions, then his attachment to Krishna will increase. His attachment to
mm,
Guru will increase, and heart will get purified. Then
mm,
uh, he will completely become spiritualist. So ambitions will become spiritual ambitions. That's how it is.
But in this
Like,
case, Prabhuji, it's not like somebody who's been into the system for a long time. These are new people who usually get bewildered with these uh, with such talks. Like when in the congregation they hear about the material desire, these are new people. And my attempt was only that the person does not misunderstand and leave the congregation, where he can actually get Krishna bhakti, and if just by a little better understanding can again be rerouted into Krishna consciousness. So for new people, what should we say? Because they still don't have that much attachment that they will divert all their profit to the this one. Uh,
no, they need not divert everything. You should tell them, yes, bro, that is good. You make your company 100 crore, that's not a problem. But you should also give some percentage to Krishna.
okay.
You tell him, you make sure that some percentage, maybe 10%, 20%, something you should promise to Krishna, and you
Hmm.
start giving. Slowly, slowly, that way, that will help him to get detached from the result also, because he's
Okay.
giving something. So you say that because we need this type of service to Krishna, so you do that service.
Yeah.
It will help devotees and it will help ISKCON temples. And you are also serving, and Krishna will be very happy with you. You are using your talent of earning money in his service.
Hmm. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we should never stop. We should not stop people working according to their nature. That will damage. If they
Yes.
have certain nature, we should help them to work according to it. Only thing
Hmm.
is we should divert the results to Krishna so that they'll get purified or they'll become devotees like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. I also mentioned that like you can have a thought that every day my employees, I will be giving them prasadam for lunch and things like that. That's such kind of ambitions as because uh, in order to fulfill your spiritual desire, Krishna will anyway fulfill your goals also. So, but like giving Bhagavad Gita to every family, okay, I will give Bhagavatam to every family, something like that. Such goals also can help. Is that okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He should try to help them to get some spirituality, but yeah, not everyone will take, but he can try some things. He can arrange a seminar from devotees for them,
Yes.
and he can invite them to Janmashtami for temple, or he can celebrate Janmashtami in the office or something like that.
Okay, Prabhuji. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Correct. Any other questions, comments? Okay, this is the forest of mental enjoyment. We had to somehow come out of it. I will make the presentation tomorrow because we have few more verses. After that, I will just give the summary presentation of this chapter also. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद।